grew up playing the basketball with the boys, so like it's always been physical and feisty, and like that's what it is. And you got to find a way to hold your own.
Is Caitlin Clark is going to be traded soon? And if you follow the rabbit hole, it all sounds real. It all sounds on purpose, and it all makes sense. Caitlin Clark to LA Sparks.
The Indiana Fever may have walked away with another headline-grabbing week, but that's not why the basketball world is suddenly in full meltdown. Instead, every conversation seems to revolve around one question that nobody inside the league is answering directly. What just happened involving Caitlin Clark? Fans noticed subtle changes almost immediately, and before long, social media was overflowing with theories, heated debates, and emotional reactions. Then something even more surprising happened. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi, two teammates who have stood beside Clark throughout the season, appeared visibly emotional after recent developments, leaving fans convinced that something much bigger was unfolding behind the scenes. Whether those reactions were simply the result of a difficult stretch or something more personal, they instantly fueled speculation across the sports world. Now everyone is trying to separate facts from rumors while searching for answers about Clark's next move and what it could mean for the Fever moving forward. Is this simply another chapter in the pressure that comes with being the biggest star in women's basketball, or is a major turning point about to reshape the team's future? Stay with us, because the full story reveals how one unexpected moment turned into the biggest conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi, and the Indiana Fever. The moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, it became clear that women's basketball had entered a new era. Every arena she visited attracted larger crowds, television ratings climbed, and jerseys disappeared from store shelves almost as quickly as they arrived. Expectations reached incredible heights, but with that attention came non-stop pressure. Every game, every interview, and every decision surrounding Clark became headline news, creating an environment where even the smallest moment could spark days of debate. That is exactly what happened over the past week. Instead of celebrating another exciting stretch of basketball, fans found themselves asking difficult questions after several emotional scenes involving Clark and her Indiana Fever teammates. Social media exploded with theories almost instantly. Some believed the team was facing internal challenges. Others argued the reactions were simply the result of a demanding season filled with pressure, expectations, and constant public attention. Whatever the truth may be, one thing became impossible to ignore. People couldn't stop talking about Caitlin Clark. Adding even more attention to the story were Sophie Cunningham and Lexi. Both players have earned respect around the league for their competitive spirit and willingness to support their teammates. During recent appearances, cameras caught emotional moments that quickly spread across sports media. Within minutes, clips were circulating across YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok, with thousands of fans trying to determine what those reactions really meant. As expected, countless rumors followed. Some online posts claimed major changes were coming for the Indiana Fever. Others suggested the team was preparing for an important decision involving its future. While speculation continued to grow, no official announcement confirmed many of the dramatic stories spreading online. That didn't stop basketball fans from sharing opinions, creating reaction videos, and debating every possible outcome. For Clark, this kind of attention has become almost routine. Since entering the WNBA, every performance has been analyzed from every possible angle. When she scores 30 points, people call her a superstar. When she has an average night, critics suddenly question everything. Few athletes have experienced this level of attention so early in their professional careers, making every week feel like another chapter in a never-ending documentary. Inside the Fever organization, however, the focus has remained much simpler. Coaches continue emphasizing teamwork, player development, and preparing for each opponent. Veterans have repeatedly spoken about staying together through both victories and difficult moments. Building a championship-caliber team rarely happens overnight, and everyone understands that growth often comes with challenges along the way. That perspective also explains why teammates like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi have become such important voices within the locker room. Both players understand the emotional highs and lows that come with professional basketball. Whether celebrating a huge win or responding to a disappointing loss, experienced teammates often become the emotional backbone of a team. Fans naturally notice their reactions because they care deeply about the people around them, especially someone carrying as much attention as Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, sports analysts continue discussing Clark's enormous impact on the league itself. Attendance numbers have increased in several cities whenever Indiana visits. National broadcasts consistently attract larger audiences, while discussions about women's basketball now dominate sports television far more often than in previous seasons. Even people who rarely watched the WNBA before are now following Clark's journey every week. That level of popularity creates both opportunities and enormous expectations. Every decision involving the Fever instantly becomes national news. A coaching adjustment becomes a headline. A post-game interview becomes a trending topic. Even a teammate's emotional expression can create thousands of social media posts within hours. In today's sports world, narratives often move much faster than confirmed facts. Despite all the speculation, one thing remains certain. Caitlin Clark continues working toward the same goal she has talked about since entering the league, helping Indiana become a consistent championship contender. That mission requires trust, patience, and strong relationships inside the locker room. It also requires blocking out the noise that constantly surrounds one of the biggest stars in professional basketball. Still, the questions refuse to disappear. Why has this story generated such intense reactions? Why are fans paying so much attention to every public appearance involving Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexi Hull? And could the biggest development still be waiting around the corner? Those questions continue driving conversation across the basketball world, and as more information emerges, the spotlight surrounding Indiana only grows brighter. What happens next could shape not only the Fever season but also the ongoing story of one of the most talked about athletes in all of sports. As the conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark continued to dominate headlines, another side of the story began attracting just as much attention: the response from the people closest to her. Every post-game interview, every practice session, and every public appearance became an opportunity for fans to search for clues. A simple smile, a serious expression, or a brief comment was enough to launch thousands of discussions online. Among the names drawing the most attention were Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. Both have built reputations as tough, hard-working teammates who value chemistry above everything else. Throughout the season, they have consistently spoken about supporting one another through both victories and setbacks. That is why fans paid such close attention whenever cameras focused on them during recent media sessions. Their body language quickly became one of the hottest topics across basketball communities. Sports talk shows wasted no time breaking down every available clip. Some analysts believed the team was simply dealing with the pressure that comes from constant national attention. Others argued that the emotional reactions reflected the natural intensity of a long WNBA season, where every game carries significant weight. Regardless of the interpretation, one fact remained clear: the Indiana Fever had become one of the most closely watched teams in professional sports. At the center of it all stood Caitlin Clark. Since arriving in the league, she has carried expectations unlike almost any rookie before her. Opposing teams build defensive game plans around stopping her. National television schedules frequently feature Indiana games because of her popularity. Millions of fans analyze her performances after every contest, making even ordinary moments feel historic. That spotlight can be inspiring, but it can also create enormous pressure. Every athlete experiences difficult stretches throughout a season. Fatigue, physical challenges, and emotional highs and lows are all part of professional basketball. When those moments happen to one of the league's biggest stars, however, they often become much larger stories than they would for anyone else. Inside the Fever locker room, teammates have repeatedly emphasized the importance of staying connected. Success in professional sports depends on trust, communication, and shared goals. Players spend countless hours together traveling, practicing, reviewing film, and preparing for opponents. Those experiences often build strong friendships that extend far beyond the basketball court. Sophie Cunningham has earned praise throughout her career for bringing energy and toughness every time she steps onto the floor. Whether diving for loose balls or encouraging teammates after difficult possessions, she has developed a reputation as someone willing to do whatever the team needs. That leadership naturally makes fans curious whenever she speaks publicly about the team's mindset. Lexi Hull brings a similar mentality. Known for her hustle, defense, and willingness to embrace difficult assignments, Hull has become another respected voice inside the organization. Her commitment to teamwork has earned admiration from coaches and teammates alike, making her comments especially meaningful whenever she discusses the challenges of an intense season. Meanwhile, the Fever continue focusing on basketball rather than outside speculation. Coaches regularly remind players that distractions are inevitable when competing on one of the biggest stages in sports. The goal remains improving every game, developing stronger chemistry, and preparing for the long road ahead. That approach has helped the organization remain focused despite the constant attention surrounding its biggest star. Fans, however, continue asking questions. They want to know how the team is handling the pressure. They wonder whether the emotional moments captured on camera reflect nothing more than competitive passion or simply the weight of enormous expectations. Those conversations have fueled millions of views across YouTube and social media, proving once again how invested people have become in Caitlin Clark's journey. As the Fever move deeper into the season, every game carries added importance. Strong performances could silence many of the outside discussions, while another emotional moment would likely create another wave of headlines. That's simply the reality of being one of the league's biggest attractions. What happens next could define not only the Fever's season but also the next chapter in Caitlin Clark's remarkable career. And with Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull continuing to stand beside their teammate, basketball fans everywhere will be watching closely to see how this story unfolds. With every passing day, it became more obvious that the Indiana Fever were learning how to handle something few teams have ever experienced. Winning basketball games was only part of the challenge. The other part was dealing with the constant spotlight that followed Caitlin Clark wherever she went. Every arena was packed, every television appearance generated headlines, and every social media post seemed to create another wave of discussion. Despite all the outside noise, Clark continued approaching the season the same way she always had, with preparation, confidence, and a competitive mindset. Teammates frequently described her as someone who stayed focused on basketball, even when conversations around her became louder than the games themselves. That attitude helped establish a culture where players encouraged one another instead of becoming distracted by rumors circulating online. Sophie Cunningham also continued to demonstrate why she is respected throughout the league. Whether she was celebrating a teammate's big play or offering encouragement after a difficult possession, her leadership remained visible. Fans often notice those moments because they reveal the chemistry that exists away from highlight reels. A successful basketball team depends on relationships built during practices, road trips, and countless hours spent working toward the same goal. Lexi Hull shared that same commitment. Her willingness to embrace difficult defensive assignments and make the extra effort on every possession has earned the trust of both coaches and teammates. While headlines usually focus on scoring, players like Hull often provide the energy and consistency that keep a team moving forward during challenging stretches of the season. Meanwhile, basketball analysts continue discussing how dramatically Caitlin Clark has influenced the Wnba. Television ratings have climbed, attendance has increased across multiple cities, and interest in women's basketball has reached new audiences. Many longtime fans appreciate the additional attention, while newer viewers have discovered the excitement of following the league throughout an entire season. Clark's arrival has undoubtedly become one of the biggest stories in modern women's basketball. Of course, greater popularity also means greater expectations. Every missed shot, every turnover, and every coaching decision becomes part of a much larger public conversation. In previous years, many of these moments might have passed unnoticed. Today, they become trending topics within minutes, creating endless debates among fans, commentators, and former players. Even with that reality, the Fever have continued emphasizing patience. Building a championship contender takes time, especially with a roster that is still developing chemistry. Every successful franchise experiences moments of adversity before reaching its full potential. Coaches have repeatedly stressed that progress isn't measured by one game or one headline, but by steady improvement throughout the season. One thing that has become increasingly clear is the bond between the players. Throughout interviews and public appearances, teammates consistently speak about supporting one another through difficult moments. That unity may prove just as important as talent as the season continues. Teams capable of staying connected during periods of intense attention often emerge stronger once the pressure begins to settle. For Caitlin Clark, the mission remains unchanged. She wants to compete at the highest level, continue improving her game, and help the Indiana Fever become a consistent contender. Every challenge, whether on the court or off it, becomes another opportunity to grow as both a player and a leader. As fans continue following every development, one lesson stands out above all else. Stories may dominate social media for a few days, but championships are built through months of hard work, trust, and resilience. The Fever understand that reality, and their focus remains firmly on what happens between the opening tip and the final buzzer. The season is far from over, and many important moments still lie ahead. New challenges will appear, new victories will be celebrated, and new headlines will undoubtedly capture the attention of basketball fans everywhere. Whether you're supporting Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, or simply enjoying the growth of the Wnba, one thing is certain. This journey is only beginning, and the most exciting chapters may still be waiting to unfold. Before you go, we'd love to hear from you. After everything that's happened, what's your take on Caitlin Clark's journey this season? Do you think the Indiana Fever are building something special, or are the biggest challenges still ahead? And what role do you believe teammates like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull will play as the team continues to grow? Share your thoughts in the comments because your opinion could be featured in one of our upcoming videos. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more original coverage of the Wnba, Caitlin Clark, Indiana Fever, and the biggest basketball stories making headlines, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. We bring you fresh analysis, breaking updates, and in-depth basketball stories every week. Thanks for watching, stay safe, keep supporting the game, and we'll see you in the next video.